Move the cup here. Yes. So, game number 1. And we jump into this. To the top left side of the map, we're going to have our blue Terran player. It will be from Root Gaming. It is Kelazhur. And over to the upper right hand side of the map, we're going to have our teal Zerg player. It is iAsonu. Shout out to Clockbash, who says, who donates $1.42 and says, just chilling and throwing around some tips. Good boy, Kappa. Thank you very much for the $1.42 donation. Appreciate it. Every little helps. Could be a Tesco's ad. Thank you very much, Clockbash, for your tip. And as we jump on into this, sorry, get rid of that text in the top left that tells us we're on Tyran and so on. As we get into this, still using a paper diary. What is this? 1856. I like writing things down. I like being able to kind of write things down and cross them out and put my thoughts on paper rather than just having it on a computer where you kind of just deleting stuff and that sort of thing. I like it. I have like 10 to 12 pages active at a time in my little book that I have for each kind of different little thing. I just prefer kind of like writing things down rather than just keeping it on a. When I'm changing things so often and planning things, I just feel it's so much easier to write down rather than have it on a computer. It probably comes back from, it's kind of funny, it's probably comes from when I did art at school, because when I did art at school I'd have a book like this and I would always have my, my plans for my art project in my book with kind of all the different things I needed to do and my plans and notes on artists and stuff like that, so it probably just comes from them. That's how I've always kind of planned things. It's always how I prefer to do things as well. So, so yeah, as we have iAsonu here in the early stages, has just gone for very fast roaches actually, 4 roaches on the way up. Kelazhur has decided to go for a factory very early in the game, so he's not gone for this 3-rack sweeper play as he did last time, just a Ripper expand into a factory very early on. We're going to see a drone getting a little bit of damage, grenade a little bit off position, and that means it is not able to actually get the kill on the drone. You do see him spotting the first roaches here, so you will need a bunker, and that bunker does begin to build as the roaches begin to come across the map. Now, iAsonu is not in the best, horizontal spawners is nice for rushing, but it's not a super fast rush distance. It's actually quite far, natural to natural. The main bases are kind of closer by air than the naturals are by ground, so just the layout of the map makes it not as rushy of a map as it kind of seems. I mean, the natural is not easy to hold. Kelazhur really wants that overload, man. Loses a marine for it, and maybe even a second marine. He gets into the bunker, though. And so he's got a bunker here. Needs to repair that, just make sure he's got enough to pull off these roaches. Pulls a single SCV. He wants to cancel that supply depot that was building. Builds up an engineering bay, really like that, actually. That's a really smart decision. What that allows him to do is stop these roaches from accessing the right-hand side and going into the main and kind of running past this bunker. So really cute little play there by Kelazhur. He's got a tank out now. He's got a medevac on the way, and he will be able to hold on from this point on. So Kelazhur holds, no damage really taken, and iAsonu just droning up back at home behind this. So, we're going to see iAsonu, obviously no third hatchery just yet, because he's first of all committed to these roaches early, but also because he's now going into a very fast lair to follow this up. His Zerglin speed has already started, but with this lair on the way, I would imagine that we're going to be seeing him going in towards a fast, well, it could be anything really, it could be roach speed, but this fast, I generally feel as though this faster lair generally tends to be something along the lines of a Spire more than anything else. And going up to 4 gases and Zerglin speed too, very suggestive of that. I mean, maybe we could have seen a Nidus, but at this point, I mean, Nidus is not effective later in the game because the power of the Nidus is kind of how quick it hits and how unprepared a Terran is, and I mean, Kelazhur, even just with 1 tank out, will be able to kind of probably nullify any kind of Nidus play. As we see the tank coming in and just going to unload and start cleaning up a couple of creep tumors, something which he wasn't able to do against Departure on Levelac Crest, as he kind of had to pull that tank back very quickly to start dealing with the Zerglins which were harassing him. So a little bit of tank harassment here to start things off. Spire is on the way down for iAsonu, as Stimpack is about halfway done. Command Center is building as well, and we'll see Kelazhur just getting himself set up and ready to go. So, free CC play coming up, free hatch shots on the way up. Nice opening for both players as we get started here in the game. So, let's see a couple of lanes just underneath that siege tank, underneath that medevac, just stopping the tank from unloading, but can get maybe to the high ground here and maybe scan, get rid of a creep tumor or so in the main. Maybe just work his way on a queen or something. And just see what he can get up to as we see that tank loading up once again. Continue to press as Stimpack is about to finish up. We're on 3 racks back at home. Upgrades starting for both players. Going to be Mutalisks into, back into Roach play here for iAsonu with this +1 missile attack on the way from this Evo chamber. And we're going to see, again, just a few minutes to harass with initially, and then straight back into Roaches. So this kind of works actually very well on this sort of map as well, because what we can generally see is sometimes the Mutas harassing around the main and pulling units out of position over there, and it's not an easy third base to hold. So if you're out of position and off dealing with stuff in the main, and you get attacked with a bunch of Roaches at your third base, you can very quickly find yourself in a lot of trouble. But I love what Kelazhur is doing. This little push out right now is going to be such a great timing to really abuse what iAsonu is doing. I mean, the Mutas are about to come up into the main base or whatever, but they're going to come into the main as, Kelazhur pushes across the map. And as Kelazhur pushes across the map here, iAsonu has to make some more units, and right now he doesn't have those extra units. He doesn't have anything really back over here. A handful of Roaches. I mean, Roaches on their own are not very good. That being said, there's no combat shields, no upgrades on these Marines apart from Stimpack just yet, because there's a scan. So at the least here, Kelazhur will clean up a few more creep tumors. As we'll see, the Mutas will pick off an SCV or two, but nothing really major being done just yet. More Roaches on the way out, and maybe Kelazhur giving his opponent time to just get set up a bit better here. But, well, look at those Marines. They just get through them Roaches so quickly. Again, Roaches, they rely on being in kind of heavier, in higher numbers and outnumbering the Marines more than anything kind of to just be worthwhile and to kind of work out, and that's not really the situation here, as we're going to see that hatchery, the third base very low. Kelazhur decides to just fight against the army. Good decision, because he is going to fight it with units left over to still try and kill off that third base, so this has worked out very well for him. Another Queen goes down, another Queen goes down there as well, and this third hatch to the right hand side is looking as though it'll probably be falling here in just a few moments. Another drone or two going down. That third hatch is going to get picked away at, and we'll see Kelazhur lifting and backing away. Muta's still over here, actually getting a fair amount of damage done. 10 workers killed, though, does not make up for losing your third hatchery, as, well, iAsonu will be maybe launching a counterattack with these Roaches. Roach speed is in play, and it's definitely maybe one of the ways he can try and pull himself back into this, but now Kelazhur will secure his own third base. This puts our Zerg player into a very, very tough position now. A couple of mules do drop on this mineral line, as we're going to see iAsonu just coming up and in towards this natural command base. Actually, no turret over here, so Kelazhur a little bit out of position with with turrets and so on, and these Mutas will continue to get a bit more damage done, but only 3 Mutas. They don't kill workers very quickly, and it doesn't take a lot for Kelazhur to push these back, and iAsonu cannot afford to rebuild any more Mutas because he's kind of got to build Roaches and drones at this point and really set himself up into 3 bases. Maybe that's why Kelazhur doesn't have these turrets in the mineral lines right now, because he's just kind of not expecting further Mutas, and just feels he can deal with those. I mean, to be fair, he has got turrets to kind of stop Mutas coming into the main base, just not to stop them coming into the main base from the natural expansion. And he's still not building up turrets either, so obviously very confident with his position, as he actually moves tanks across the map, and these medevacs looking to try and drop and kind of get some damage done, just kite around against the Roaches and Ravagers. I mean, may as well, as we're going to see another couple SCVs. I mean, considering this is only 3 Mutas now, they've killed another 12 workers, being very effective. Because, again, just may as well try and get a little bit further damage done. If you can kill off even just 1 or 2 Roaches here, as long as he doesn't mess up his macro back at home, then it's going to have been worthwhile. He's a bit supply blocked right now. As you're going to see, these Roaches starting to come in, and, well, these medevacs will just have to start loading. Ooh, he loses a tank, though, so that's definitely not worthwhile. As now he will start to come back home, and, well, iAsonu launching an attack here. Upgrades are going to be, well, fairly even. It's going to be +2 attacks against +1/+1. With the +2 attacks being on the Roaches and Ravagers, as Kelazhur needs to siege up. He needs to get these other tanks back in position. He's also got his bio into position here as well. These tanks look as though they will make it home in time. A few Ravager shots coming down. The tanks will unload, and that's really nice to get just a little bit of damage on some Ravagers there. Dodges away from the corrosive files once again. Kelazhur just lifts up, as we see once again. Mutalisks in towards the natural expansion. And again, just 1 turret at this point would have been worthwhile. I don't think Kelazhur assumed there was going to be that much damage done by these Mutas. But I mean, even he has just, at this point it would have been worth building a turret basically. But hindsight is everything. And as we have, well, another Ravager morphing in here on the right hand side of the map. Creep tumors continue to push out and around us. Man, 2 Mutas still 11 and 10 kills on these Mutalisks. We don't usually look at kill counts on Mutalisks, but man, when there's only been so few, you can just see them really stacking up the kills here. And again, Kelazhur, it only takes like 2 Marines to kind of turn these away. But he still just struggles, and man, again, just imagine his economy if that wasn't the case, if he hadn't had this issue all game long. 4th base ready to go, 4th base finishing for iAsonu. I still like Kelazhur's position, but he's maybe a little bit overzealous attacking now. I guess he's got a good tank count, and that is, you know, the majority of the battle usually in this, but his opponent does have a very good surround coming in from the south side as well as the north. As you see this engagement starting to take place, lots of corrosive bars coming in, and it doesn't look as though Kelazhur really has enough. He has to lift up some of these tanks and just evacuate really more than anything, as he gets away just away from corrosive bars at the last moment. Kelazhur loses a lot, I think. Overzealous attacking into a Zerg, who's again felt more and more upgrades finishing up here as whoa, corrosive bars grab a medevac. Kelazhur boosting away. Still, these mules are being so annoying. 16 kills and what? 16 kills and 18 kills? Kelazhur, why don't you just build a turret? Even still, you know, it would have still been worthwhile to build the turret just against these two mules, because they still just keep doing so much damage throughout this game. As we see Kelazhur backing away once again and pushing these mules back, and well, iAsonu are not going to attack just yet, so Kelazhur's got some time to stabilize with +1 tank attack, +2 armor, but it's given now iAsonu a chance to get into the hive tech. His infestation pit just finished, so his hive will start up very shortly. These couple of meters going to fly around the top side, and you're going to see a roach starting to come in towards this 4th base, which will not be able to, may be able to get that SCV kill. And just see this roach actually going to sit behind the middle line. A few marines on the way over to deal with it already, though. Kelazhur preparing nicely. As we see another attack ready to come in from iAsonu. Actually going to focus this maybe towards the 4th base. Maybe he just comes in for an engagement on the army. The army being very kind of split up right now. Very low on health in general. As we're going to see iAsonu coming in. Here we go. These corrosive bars immediately forcing the kind of bio to reposition. The tanks repositioning too. And Kelazhur just does not have enough. And this first game has definitely just gone the way of iAsonu in the end, I feel. Them mutas, the MVPs, surely. As he actually builds Vikings to deal with it in the end. No! The mutalisks go down. Oh, the mutalisks go down to the Vikings. But they had like 20 kills apiece at the very end of this. As Kelazhur really unfortunately just does not have enough to kind of fight against this number of roaches, this number of lings. Streaming on in. We're going to see iAsonu looking to take game number 1 here in this series. And we'll see few more marines and marauders stemming forwards and just cleaning up these last roach whatever. He actually will clean up this army. Actually, well, Kelazhur's maybe not out of this just yet. He's dropping across the map at the same time. He's taking a lot of damage, but he kills off the army. He's gonna pick off this 4th base, or is he? I mean, that's kind of the question, I suppose. Looks as though no, he won't, but he will kill off a few drones here. Well, hold my thoughts, because this is not over just yet. Kelazhur is still sort of alive to some extent. He's gotten this drop unloaded back towards this bottom side, ready to run here once again. 6 meters on the way up to start dealing with these drops, and well, if he doesn't build turrets in the mineral lines now, then there's really no excuse. But these meters could get a few more workers. Kelazhur only 15 workers behind with triple mule in the game. It's manageable. It could happen. Very surprised to see iAsonu making more workers now. I guess he never built the hive, never went into the ultras, despite even starting +1 melee. As we're going to see actually one of these meters already in a bit of trouble. As units will unload in the main base, Kelazhur, whoa, bit of a mistake. He's not actually unloading. As he's back into the bottom right now. Now he will begin to unload, but already a lot of roaches coming into position to fight against this. However, well, it is just roaches, because not paying attention, lifts, and does just get out of there. A few of them here. Crossbars actually landing onto a bunch of those there, as mutas are going to be chasing, and wow, their medevacs are in a lot of trouble. The medevac on low health is the one which the mutas are going to get onto straight away, and that will go down. So there's a heavy loss here. Bit of a mistake again. If he hadn't really, if he'd been a little bit more careful, hadn't accidentally lost the, hadn't accidentally not unloaded, it would have been a bit better for him. As a drone goes down, Marines just doing what they can. As we see him defending the mutas in the main. Now he will build a turret in his main base. Now he should build a turret in his natural as well. And down to the bottom right, he does have one. So seeing these extra mutas, he should begin to prepare against this. iAsonu, I can't believe he's not won this actually. It looked very dire for Kelazhur, but that is the power of, well, that's the lack of power of roaches, I guess. And kind of how deceiving supplies can be. The drop doing a lot of damage to the bottom right, really helping them out too. And that's just how quickly things can turn. As we see the turret doesn't get repaired. Kelazhur a bit slow to respond to that. We are playing on the Korean server, not the Taiwan server, so Kelazhur with not the best latency, although that shouldn't be an excuse really. Because he definitely could have responded to that a little bit faster, I feel, as we're going to see these meters pulling away. And we're going to see a few Banelings that starting to morph in. We're going to see a switch into Ling Bane, sort of. in the later stages of this game. Very weird switch from iAsonu. Rather than just going into ultras, he decides to go into this sort of Ling Bane setup, as we're going to see Marines able to stim forwards and work their way on these meters. We all can see the turret able to finish though, as we see turret in the third base bunker too. And Kelazhur pushing down this, pushing through the center of the map. His upgrades in a slight lead here, +3/+3. Well, it will be a big lead, plus an entire set of upgrades and an advantage. Doesn't have many tanks though, he's fighting on creep as well. And he sees them Banelings now mixed into this army. There is Baneling speed up, and another scan, he cleans up a single creep team and builds the tank into a bit of a better position. Wants to start pushing into this position down here. Turret not in position in the natural, and again, these meters just find themselves so much damage throughout this game. Kelazhur though has a good position down here, but does he have enough to really fight our Zerg? Because we're going to see this fourth base will get taken down. These meters getting a lot of damage done, but they're starting to die off to these Marines as well. And that's a lot of army supply, which iAsonu will not have in this engagement. Then again, Kelazhur will have reinforcements left at home too, as the Bruden's trapping a few of the Marines, stopping them from splitting backwards. Kelazhur pulling a few more of those Marines back, but he doesn't really have enough to fight against the Roaches after this. And so now is the time for him to just lift and leave. Meters still being a nuisance around the natural expansion. Marines being left over here to try and defend against them. As we see these meters going to come in once again, they're going to think about working against a couple of those units. As Kelazhur is cleaned up. As actually going to another drop over here towards the third base, so stops iAsonu from attacking here for a few more moments. Still just 20 supply in this, and still a lot of roaches on the map. As Kelazhur did kill the fourth base, and well, that really limits iAsonu's mining right now. Income is actually in the lead for Kelazhur, 1.3k to 600, so he should take a bit of an advantage from this in the very near future, but he's running around trying to deal with these Mulisks, and wow, what a game we're seeing in the quarterfinals of the Douyu Star Masters number 6 here today. We're going to see these meters coming up towards the top side. We're going to see some meters ready to come in towards the natural once again. They find themselves a tank. Tank's actually very nice at this at this part of the game to help deal with the roaches again. Even with the Banelings, they can be very useful. Roach Bane, I would generally say you want sort of, I guess Mutilating Bane you want mines against, but Roach Bane, Muta, probably tank still. It's kind of you know, a weird setup, a weird kind of difference. We're going to see iAsonu should see these two medevacs coming across, and then Mutas should be able to jump onto those medevacs very quickly. As Kelazhur will begin to boost, and well, you'll notice on the low ground, so you can fight against the Mutas for now. The roaches will start to come in here though. Kelazhur just backing away ASAP as fast as he can, and I just load up one of the medevacs, the full health medevac, into the medevac with, well, okay, he's going to load up the damaged medevac, which is deceiving. And he's actually going to end up losing this one though, and we'll get the other one in position to drop. But iAsonu is starting to pull his army back to deal with that, as Kelazhur's evened up the supplies in this game. He's still at an upgrade lead, but only +2 upgrades in the game for iAsonu, whereas Kelazhur has that final stage set up already. You see a couple of Liberators now out as well, something he used very well against Departure during his series, during that previous series. So Kelazhur may make something happen. He's pushing across again. Not really many tanks or anything to help defend, but he's going to find himself a few Zerglin kills to start things off, and that's not a good start for iAsonu by any stretch of the imagination. A scan comes down from Kelazhur. A couple of Liberators will siege up as well. As you see them Mutas starting to run on in here, we're going to see lots and lots of Banelings being taken down. These roaches are in a lot of trouble, as we're going to see more Crossbars coming down too. Kelazhur kind of looks as though he has units still to fight, but he's kind of running out of units at the same time. The Mutas are going to start going down though. It's still a good trade for Kelazhur, who in the end of this is losing Marines for killing off Mutalisks, and now the Mutas are kind of going away, and well, iAsonu does have bases set up to the bottom right side of the map. As we're going to see these fourth bases and the third base for Kelazhur set up, single turret in each of the mineral lines. We're seeing again, he had the turrets here for a little while, although we see the Mutas able to do some further damage beforehand, just because they were able to target the turret before he repaired. As we see, big push through the center once again from Kelazhur, and this time he seems to have a real advantage in this game, as we have these Mutalisks going to be tagging onto that command center at the fifth base, which Kelazhur is going to take actually at the gold base to give him some more pushing power. Currently setting up to try and take a fight over on his opponent's side of the map, as well as also a drop heading towards the bottom right hand base. As nice split from iAsonu. This is a great map for Zerg when it comes to kind of getting great concaves to engage with. Because see some corrosive bars not really doing a lot up here, and Kelazhur kind of fighting two armies at the same time. And this base continuing to take damage from these few Mutalisks. And now Kelazhur are going to kind of commit to this position. That's the Ultralis Cavern which is building here, guys, and that is something which Kelazhur does not want to let finish up. So iAsonu does not want to lose it either. He engages into this army to try and get rid of, to try and push this back a little bit. He will push this back. Kelazhur, though, will not be pushed back for too long as he comes in. Now the Ravagers will go down. That'll be GG's. At the same time, there was a drop to the bottom right, killing off the worker mineral line down here. We mentioned that moving in. We didn't get to see it on the screens. That'll be game number 1 of the series going to Kelazhur. What an epic game. We see so many great games here in the Douyu Star Masters, and this one has been no different as we get ready to go into game number 2 of this series in just a few moments' time. Let's get... sorry, Clockbash, I need to update you on the recent donator thingy-mabobby down the bottom here. So let me get this set up for you. Again, thank you very much for your donation. Again, guys, if you're enjoying the stream and want to help support me being a full-time streamer, caster, content producer, then what you can do is, there's a few different ways you can support the stream. You can subscribe to the channel, obviously. You can donate directly, as a couple of people have done so far today. Oops, misclick. Yeah, you can. There's a few different ways you can support the stream if you would like to. So if that sounds interesting, please do consider it, because it does help me make a living. And again, I'm doing this full time, which is why I'm able to cast sort of in the middle of the day for myself, and at all times of the day, all over the place. There's WCS qualifiers soon, and I'm going to be hoping to get permission to cast the Chinese qualifier, the Taiwanese qualifier, as well as the C qualifiers, and that means that we have some very early starts, some 5 AM starts for me, some 6 AM CET starts. So hopefully we get some of those as well. So kind of just casting all hours of the day when possible. As we go into this, let's introduce our players. The bottom left side of the map from Root Gaming is going to be our blue Terran player. Let's hear it if you're cheering on Kelazhur. As to the upper right, we're going to have our red Zerg from Invictus Gaming. It's iAsonu. What a crazy game number 1. As we have Kelazhur allowing his opponent to kill 40 workers with just 2 Mutalisks. And yeah, it was. It's been a crazy game. Sometimes the scrappy games where both players aren't playing perfectly are the most fun to watch. You know, they're exciting, things happen all over. Are we on Taiwan again? Yes, we are. So poor Kelazhur has a bit extra latency compared to if we played on the playing on the Korean server. As we just get set up into this guy's game number 2 of this series. Kelazhur just checking for the proxy hatch. Has obviously played Bly enough times to not want to lose to that one. So just checking for that as he gets ready to expand, and we'll have another depot here at the front in a few moments. First Reaper on the way up, so very standard, pretty much the same build as we saw last time. We saw him, last game he committed into a, what did he commit into last game? He led to, last game on Sentinel Protocol he opened with just a single Reaper and trying to expand very early. iAsonu opened with a few Roaches, which allowed him to be kind of aggressive towards the, towards kind of the mid stages of, or the early stages of the game, then kind of ran into the fast meters, which I would like to say didn't do a lot because Kelazhur did a lot at the same time, but, well, turns out 3 Mutalisks can do a lot of damage. I really can't still quite get over just how much damage those handful of Mutalisks did. Do you have the Reaper over here? Sorry, just engaging with a few Zerg, and there's not really too much going on. So up in the chat, everyone, do come in and say hello if you're watching here today. Always nice to see a nice active chat, so thank you very much for tuning in, dropping by, and again, if you're chatting as well, hello to you all. Hello, day 911. We got Whooper in the chat, asking if there's any Brovilos in. Got Faith in here. Karen's in, chatting away as well. We got everyone in here today. Nice to see you all, guys. Hope you're having a good one. Again, we're currently, we're hoping, well, depends when this ends, but whenever this ends, there's probably going to be some Copenhagen Games matches as well. So some top Danish players taking part in the competition over there. So if there's still some of those matches going on, we will broadcast those after the Douyu Cup, and we'll also have the Copenhagen Games tomorrow as well, now confirmed. So we'll be having some matches tomorrow from the Copenhagen Games, so nice to have that available to us as well. As we're going to have the Reaper in the early stages, just backing off. Early on from iAsonu has been very standard. Pulled out of gas for the most part. A few Zerglings will be caught by a couple of Hellions now. A couple others will get into position to scout up this ramp, maybe into the main, see what's going on. It's actually a Hellion, a medevac from Kelazhur. Pretty much the exact same as what he was doing against Departure earlier. And this was the map he won on against Departure in game number 3. So, I'm going to be Seeing just a few queens coming in towards the ramp, just walling off to help deal with any kind of Hellion pressure. Of course, then queens walling off will not help too much against Medivacs dropping the Hellions behind this queen wall off. So it's going to be something we'll see how well iAsonu deals with, basically, as you see Kelazhur coming in, just making sure that third base is still there. No real shenanigans coming up. Kelazhur, a couple more racks on the way down, and looks to be the exact same build as what he did against Departure, which was a very aggressive sort of push with a few Hellbats and so on, using the Hellions to harass and try and get damage done early. And this might be very effective, because right now iAsonu is out of position. His queen's on the low ground, he's not got any Zerglings at all, and the Hellions are unloading in the main base, something iAsonu has only just scouted now, already starting to pull them drones away towards the natural. Kelazhur, I don't really agree with just fighting against the queen. I mean, he's forcing lost mining time, I suppose, so it's nice. He probably could have chased after the drones. I guess he doesn't know how many units there are for his opponent, though. And that's one of the main things. You don't want to overcommit and lose them Hellions when you could come in pressure again later like this. As we see him dropping off here, he's going to fight against a few Lings, and he will get himself a drone kill or two as well. Not the most damage, but again, just working away up against little bits and pieces here. And just slowly working into some damage, just nice and slow. And this Medivac from Kelazhur going to be coming away and moving towards the lower left side of the map now, it seems, as we have a few creep timmers on the way up. iAsonu just starting to focus on this creep spread. Viking, we're going to pick off some overlords too, which is really nice, because the more, basically the more damage Kelazhur gets done before he attacks, the more powerful his attack is going to be. That kind of goes without saying, but he's got Stim here, combat chills on the way up, and +1 will be timed out with this, and he'll also have the armory added on, so you can morph in some Hellbats to help out too. He finds another little opening where iAsonu only has a glimpse of, and let's see how fast iAsonu responds. He does begin to pull those drones away. Kelazhur just a little bit late to jump in here, gets one drone kill, but still keeps all the Hellions alive, and keeping the Hellions alive is so nice, because when he comes in with this attack very soon, if he has 4 extra Hellbats in the army, it's going to be much more powerful than if he doesn't them extra Hellbats in here. And as we see the Marines coming across the map, some Medivacs with this as well. The Viking has been doing a good job throughout this, also currently on 3 Overlord kills, going into a 4th one now. As a single Zergling doesn't really see too much. In fact, iAsonu, I'm not sure if he even sees this attack coming, as the third CC is only just now building. I guess he has been in the base, so all the extra racks coming up early. But you see a few roaches here ready to go. Combat shields and +1 not ready just yet. For Kelazhur, as he scans, get ready to fight. Is he going to fight and stand against those roaches? We even see the Viking landing now just to give a bit extra kind of ground damage. We see a lot of Lings coming across the map, looking at some damage done over there as iAsonu hoping that counter-attack gets something done, because right now he's losing these roaches very quickly at the front, and as the roaches go down, the third base will be under a lot of pressure. Some more Hellbats coming in to help tank, some Queens coming in, they'll have transfusers, but they don't drop any on the roaches, as these Zerglings positioned to cancel that third base, but they aren't cancelling just yet, and iAsonu is losing a lot of workers here, pulling them away. More roaches coming out, but I don't think iAsonu is prepared for this attack, and it looks as though Kelazhur is going to be taking a 2-0, because this is a lot of damage for him to have to kind of, a lot of damage for iAsonu to come back from. Third hatch looks as though it may go down, and, well, I mean, he's going to just finish that off there and kill off a few more roaches. And reinforcements coming as well, more and more Medivacs. There's still this Viking alive, there's still Hellbats streaming in too. Now Kelazhur finds himself an Overlord farm he can work his way against as well. And as that Viking will go down at the back to a couple of roaches, and, well, Kelazhur will be forced to lift up and back away, but the damage done here is monumental, as he has his third base now finishing at home. And, I mean, just a follow-up attack could do a lot. Just killing off that third base is huge. I mean, denies so much mining here for iAsonu and delays so much production as well, which is why an attack in kind of a minute or so when this hatchery finishes building is going to be very powerful, because it's just before the third hatch mining starts again. It's just before the third hatch production kicks back in. I feel as though that's what Kelazhur should kind of go for. Just kind of go again and kind of move out at 8:30 or so, maybe with these couple liberators or something. Move out around that sort of time, and then kind of just move across and see what you can get up to. I think you can do a lot of damage with it. I think you'll probably win him the game. Because, I mean, you think about it, you kill off the third base, what does that really mean? Well, immediately nothing. But while the third base rebuilds, just as the third base comes back up, that's when the Zerg is at their weakest point, because all that time, that's the most time in which the Zerg is not going to have been mining from that third base. That's the most time in which they've been lacking that third base production. So the best time to attack would be, around about now. So let's see if Kelazhur goes for it. If he just wants to wait and go into a bit of a later game, I mean, he still has an advantage no matter what. Just iAsonu will start to claw himself back into this slightly. No, there we go. Kelazhur begins to move across and gets ready to attack once again. My dog's just come back home, been out for a walk, and has apparently decided to roll around crazily on the couch. So if you can hear some scratching in the background, that's my dog having a bit of a crazy moment. She looks cute. Alright, iAsonu in a lot of trouble here as Kelazhur is pushing forwards, and I don't really see how iAsonu holds this. Liberators, if they split up, should be able to deal with those Ravagers rather easily, as Burst Piles do come down, but Kelazhur just comes straight forwards, drops them tanks as well. And the Liberator is not part of this fight just yet. They will start to move forwards and become a part of this very soon, but iAsonu just doesn't have anything, and our Brazilian Terran player will take the 2-0, will advance through to the semi-final